The fifth law we're going to examine is the law of increase and management. It is not enough to have financial resources, you must know how to manage, build, and increase it. You have to understand the mystery of what I call the mystery behind your seed and your bread. You see, when it comes to income and profits, every blessing, every profit, and every income, inside of it, there's always seed and there's bread. The assignment of your bread is to satisfy your current need, but the assignment of your seed is to make sure that you will not be broke tomorrow. Let me tell you something interesting. The rich prioritize their seeds, whereas the poor mindset, poor belief systems prioritize their bread. If you are given seeds and you think it's bread and you consume it, then you are eating up today the riches of your tomorrow. Let me give a practical example. Someone earns a salary of $1,000 per month. The mindset of the poor and the broke will be, let me spend all the salary on my immediate needs and desires, and they exhaust everything waiting for the next paycheck. So for the poor, the entire salary is their bread to be consumed with immediate effect. But for the rich, inside that $1,000 is seed and bread. So what do? They set aside $500 for their needs, rent. Inside the needs are their rent, their bills, food, etc. Then the other $500, which by the way is 50%, they set on their seed. This is what goes into investments, savings, and multiple streams of income. So I'm going to give a very interesting animation that you're going to see on the screen. We're going to be two people now. Let's just call this man here Mr. A and this man here Mr. B. So you see the two of them. Now both of them earn $1,000 per month. Now Mr. A does not have patience to wait before living a good life. He's living in a luxurious apartment. He wants immediate gratification. His rent is about $650 per month. It's a nice apartment, but he doesn't know his future is being consumed. He's spending $250 a month on food, and this food is eating his takeaways and eating at fancy restaurants. What is his mantra? That you only live once. So the remaining $100 that is left is spent on what we call impulse buying. But look at Mr. B, for example. Again, they're earning the same salary, they earn the same amount. Now he decides to delay his gratification. He also likes a fancy apartment, he likes beautiful things, but he says, you know what, I'm going to delay my need for a fancy house. I will live in a studio apartment where I pay only $250 per month. I will spend $150 a month on food. Now, this food is not going to restaurants. He's doing bulk buying, grocery shopping, so he can save money. And the remaining 100 is spent on needs and not desires. And guess what? He's able to save the remaining 500 into his savings account. Now, in 1 year, Mr. A has nothing to show for his work, while Mr. B has saved $6,000 that goes into investment. Can I tell you something interesting? In 5 years, Mr. A will still be on the same boat, living paycheck to paycheck without nothing to show. But in 5 years, Mr. B's investment would have appreciated and he is now worth $30,000. In 6 years, Mr. B is now worth $100,000. In 10 years, he has grown so much that he's now worth $500,000,000, $500,000. Now you see that wealth and growth is not some great mystic esoteric mystery that many make it out to be. There's a science behind it. Let's look at what made Mr. B wealthy, and let's also look at what made Mr. A broke even after 10 years. We look at Mr. B. Number one character trait, delayed gratification. Number two, he lived below his means. Number three, he was patient. Number four, he was disciplined. Discipline. Number five, he had a plan, so he was focused. He was focused on his long-term plan. Number six, he budgeted his money and he saved. Number seven, he planned. He had a long-term goal. Number eight, he eventually diversified. He didn't just save money, he went into investments and business. Look at Mr. A, for example. Let's look at the reasons why he was broke even after 10 years. Number one, YOLO, I want to live my best life. The need for immediate gratification. Number two, he lived above his means. Number three, there was a failure to have a long-term plan. Number four, he wanted to impress others. And now you now see why Mr. A, despite what he had, and despite him earning the same salary as Mr. B, after 10 years, he was still struggling. And God forbid he got sacked in his job, he'll be back to square one without anything to show for it. So it's important to know that there's the law of increase and management. There are two basic reasons why we save. We save for emergencies and for rainy days, but there's a more superior reason. We save for investment because the only way money multiplies is through investment. Investment, acquisition of assets. Every time you spend money, every time you spend what you have, it is your future that is crying. But when you are starting and rising in life, please and please always know this, you must be frugal. Let me just say one more thing about this law of management, this law of increase. You see, we have been so designed to pay everybody but ourselves. Let me give an example. You think because you went to go to a restaurant on a Friday night that you said you paid yourself. No, guess who you paid? You paid the owner of the restaurant. Every time you go to the pharmacy, you are paying the owner of the pharmacy. Every time you buy a new shirt, you are paying the owner of the retail store. So the average person in life is paying everybody but themselves. How do you pay yourself? Let me give you a principle. Let me give you an idea. And if you can follow this idea, in the next few years, you watch how things change. There's something we call the law of 10%, where 10% of everything you earn, you pay yourself how? By putting it into a savings account. Now, this is not the money that you save for rainy days or for emergency. No, you can have another savings for that. This is the money that you accumulate, that you decide to use for investment and for diversification. Now, imagine every time you earn your paycheck, you don't just think, okay, how do I pay the restaurant owner by going to buy food? How do I pay the retail owner by buying new clothes? No, you must now think superior. Mind again, remember we spoke about mindset. How do I pay myself? If I pay myself like Mr. B paid himself $500 every month, in 1 year, the $500 became $6,000. That $6,000, he didn't use it for his own needs and desires. He used it for diversification and for investment. And in 10 years, he was worth $500 million. So please, let's learn one major principle. Learn to pay yourself. Even after you have paid everybody else, please love yourself and pay yourself. And if you can do that with discipline and diligence, you watch how everything changes. I hope you know that by now we're getting deeper. The next law we're going to examine is such a practical law. It is called the law of diligence and desire. Honestly, you have no idea what is coming to hit you. I can guarantee you that the next law is going to be a banger. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so. Do like and share. I can't wait to see you again in the next video.